right, yogis, we are at that time. It's yoga time. So welcome, and I invite you to come to standing. Just take your time as you make your way up to the top of your mat. Just continue to prepare for your practice as you're arriving in the space. You might start with your feet about hip distance apart, yes, with your toes pointing forward. You might just do this just temporarily, just for a few breaths, just to get a sense of the stability in your hips, alignment in your hips right down to your feet. But if you need to change this standing posture, feel free to take the feet a little wider, even turn your toes outward if you need to. Just as long as you feel grounded. Maybe take a few deep breaths just to help you feel more connected, more rooted into the earth. For example, as you inhale, you might fill yourself up into your lungs, but as you exhale, you even imagine your breath moving down through your legs, down through the soles of your feet. Maybe do that a few times, just to make this connection to the earth. Just continue with slow, steady breaths here. Mindful breathing. And with this breath, feel free to add some movement, a nice check-in with your body. You can just circle your shoulders a few times. Gently move your head and neck. Just work down your body. Noticing how you're feeling. Take into account what you might be needing from your practice today. It could be a wide variety of things. Maybe you need a little restfulness and ease. So take your time if that's the case. Modify your poses, rest. If you need a little energy and just want to spice things up, just challenge yourself in your practice today. We're working with our hips today and going a little deeper into our hips. Really enhancing flexibility and mobility in our hips. Just adding a little bit more awareness to your breath and the breathing effort. When you inhale, just feel your breath rising upward to fill your lungs. So a nice expansive breath. Then as you exhale, as you're able, draw your navel inward towards your spine, a little pulling in sensation at your belly. And again, as you breathe in, feel the lengthening in your spine. You might find that you're standing a little taller, expanding through your lungs. Exhale, connect to your center, pulling inward gently, but feeling that articulation of the abdominal muscles. Nice. This awareness of breath, it allows you to be here in the moment, still, calm, quiet. Soon breath will help guide you and move you through your practice. And again, move in the way that you need to move today. Let's take 3 more breaths, generating more energy to prepare our bodies to move. Good, and when you're ready, inhale and extend your arms overhead. Just take your time. A nice stretch, reach all the way up. Then exhale, fold forward, so hinge at your hips, bend your knees as much as you need to, and just slowly fold, make your way down. You might touch your toes, but you don't have to touch your toes. You never need to touch your toes.
Then inhale, slide your hands up to your shins or your knees and extend your spine. Feel like you're coming forward. Exhale, allow your body to melt back down towards your toes. Just holding here in this forward fold. You might allow gravity to draw you downward and feel this heaviness in the body. Or you might need to lighten things up. You might slide your hands or walk your hands up to your shins or knees so your fold isn't as deep. Whatever you need to do here. And wherever you are, just paying attention to the sensations in your body. What's happening in your hamstrings, that stretch and lengthening feeling, even down through your calves, down to your heels and feet. The natural curve of the spine. Maybe gravity is drawing you downward through the crown of your head. The curvature in the spine, maybe a little release all the way through the spinal column. Let's do another halfway lift here. So inhale, slide your hands up to your shins or knees, extend your spine, hold here, halfway lift, keep breathing in and out. So just form this long tabletop position. So you're parallel to the floor, neck is long, your gaze, if your eyes are opened, is right down at the mat. Your feet are firm on the mat, so be aware if you've shifted the weight into your toes or you're sitting back into your heels. So if you can find that center. Keep a natural bend in the knees because you'll still feel your hamstrings engage to help hold you in place. 2 more breaths here. Sometimes I might call this monkey pose. The formal name is just half forward fold. Ready to stand now. Shift your weight into your heels. Bend your knees. Feel like you're going to sit, so your hips lower down, but lift your heart up. Take your arms out to the side and guide your way up with an inhale. Standing tall, reaching into the air. And your exhale, you can bring your hands down to your heart or bring your arms down to your side to finish that flow. Just take a breath or 2 here as we return to our mountain pose. Let's flow through that sequence again. When you're ready, inhale, sweep your arms out and up, reaching high. Exhale, leading with your heart, fold forward with soft knees. Yes, take your time, make your way down a full or partial fold. Inhale, slide your hands up to your shins or knees and extend your spine. This exhale, just fold again, right back down to where it feels best. Same weight shift into your heels, bend your knees, feel like you're going to sit, lift your heart, spread your wings, then float all the way back up to a tall stance, reaching into the air. Exhale, hands to heart or arms down to your side. Good. Another pause here. Keep this connection with your breath. Just continue to move. Moving at your own pace, our sun salute. When you're ready, inhale, sweep your arms out and up. Feel the lengthening through the sides of your body. Exhale, fold forward. Always okay to bend your knees. Make your way down. Maybe a nice release of head, neck, and shoulders right there. Inhale, rise up halfway. Our monkey pose. Then the exhale, fold all the way down. Bend your knees enough to place your hands on your mat so you can walk, step, even hop the feet back into plank pose, this high push-up position. Just holding for a moment as you feel the full lengthening of the body. Experience the strength in your body here as well. Take a breath in, then exhale, bend your knees a little, then send your hips up into the air as you guide your way into downward facing dog. Just an inverted V shape. Just want to be sure, a couple things, that your hips are nice and high. I just call it a high mountain peak. So they're nice and high. If you need to adjust the feet or your hands, you might even need to tiptoe forward a little bit so your hips are a little higher. Feel free just to hold and be here with breath. Experience the sensations in this inverted posture or add movement. You can certainly pedal the feet like you're walking or pedaling a bicycle. There you go. So you can feel and experience your toes, the soles of your feet, your heels, ankles, right into your calves. Notice the knees bending. You can hold here, but if you need to rest, you can always come down to your knees, even sit back into child's pose if you need a little pause or a rest here anytime.
Moving from here, nice full breath in, fill up your lungs as best as you can. Exhale to empty your belly, bend your knees to walk step, or even hop both feet, returning now to the top of your mat. You'll be in forward fold. Inhale, elongate through the spine, halfway lift, monkey pose. Exhale, fold again. Here's our weight shift into the heels. Bend your knees. Inhale, reverse your swan dive. Coming up, reaching high, a little higher if you're able. This exhale, take chair pose or a chair-like position. A high seat is fine, or maybe you can bend the knees and lower the hips a little bit more into a deeper seat if you'd like. Breathing in, a little bit more extension out through your arms. Then exhale, dive out of your seat down towards your toes. Forward fold. There it is. Inhale, rising halfway up. Again, feel like you're coming forward. Yes, to get that full extension. Exhale, fold. Bend your knees more. Plant your hands into the mat. Walk or step the feet back into plank pose. Draw that straight line. Pause for a moment. Always will have a choice here. You can take that same shortcut to downward facing dog, or you might finish the vinyasa or the flow with an exhale. Bend your elbows, squeeze them in towards your ribs to lower your body down. You can even bring knees to the floor first, then the chest. Inhale, pressing into the floor with your hands to begin straightening the arms. Elbows can stay bent or straighten the arms, so you lift into an upward facing dog. Exhale, tuck your toes under, lift your knees, and the hips float into the sky, downward facing dog. Make those same adjustments. Adjust the feet, maybe adjust your hands. Hips are nice and high. Other little tips here. It's okay to keep the knees bent in this posture. When the knees are bent in this pose, it keeps your hips mobile. Okay, that should allow you to keep extending the spine by lifting the hips up and back. Okay, let's add a lunge here. Inhale, extend your right leg up behind you. Find the wall that's back there. Exhale, good. Step your right foot up to the top of the mat near the right hand. Once you've landed, turn your left heel to the floor behind you and even shift some weight back into that foot. So there's less weight in this front foot, in the hand, so you can easily hinge your way up. Warrior one. Nice opening facing forward. Exhale, hinge and fold. Hinging at the hips. Plant the hands. We'll slide the right foot back to meet the other. There's our plank pose. Choose the sequence that works best this time to get you to downward facing dog. Maybe Chaturanga Dandasana. Low cobra is an appropriate back bend here. Then exhale, downward facing dog. We'll always just meet together there. Other side, inhale, extend left leg up and away. Good, find the wall, exhale, stepping through. Left foot now to the top of the mat. Yep, guide the foot there, use your hands if you need to. Right heel turns to the floor, feel rooted, feel connected like mountain pose. Light hand so you can easily hinge your way up. That's it. Opening there, exhale, hinge and fold. Take your time. Find the ground, plant the hand, slide your left foot back. There's plank pose. Complete the series as you'd like. You can just take that shortcut to downward facing dog or some variation of movements, adding or subtracting any movements there to get you to downward facing dog. We're going to gently kneel down, so come down to your knees. From there, sit back briefly into hero pose just to get off the hands. Sit off to the side so you can swing the legs around to the front. We'll sit in the center of the mat. We're going to roll down onto the back. We're going to do a few poses here. First, you might just hug your knees into your body. Add some movement, check in with your breath. And also check in with other parts of the body. Maybe it's your hips, your low back. Check in with your feet. Your feet are free here, so you might be able to add some mobility through the feet, flexing, pointing, circles. Let's stay here, holding onto the knees or shins, a light flex of the feet, and take the legs wide, just to get a little stretch in the inner legs. Your elbows might even come to the floor. If they rest on the floor, that way your legs can actually rest in your open palms. Just take some breaths. Just a light stretch. Doesn't have to be anything too dynamic here. Just to introduce some lengthening, opening, release in the inner legs, right down into the hips. And again, that's going to be our focus today. 2 more breaths here. Then bring the knees together. Set the feet onto the floor. Here they might even be at hip distance apart. You can keep them there as we prepare for bridge, or take your feet wide, wider than your hips. I do that for me because when I get into the bridge pose, it just feels like I have more space in my low back and hips. So I like to keep my feet wide. So whenever you're ready, inhale, fill up your lungs. You can exhale through the mouth, feel the air leave your belly. Also feel the engaged center there as you lift your hips away from the ground. And even after you've lifted, you can still make adjustments with your feet and even your upper body. I might even suggest, if it feels okay, rock your upper body left and right several times in order to get your arms and shoulders a bit underneath you. You're almost lying on top of the shoulders. And you might find that you lift a little more, open a bit more in the upper chest. And then you can use the bent elbows again, pressing the arms into the mat to help lift, hold, and sustain the posture. Okay. 3 more breaths, and with these breaths, just be aware of the dynamics in the body. Lots of things are going on, very much engaged. When you're ready to come out of the posture, you might wiggle the feet forward a little bit, making space in your low back. Extend your arms up into the air to release the upper back, and then roll your way down to the ground. Nice, soft, slow landing. Once you've landed, extend your arms behind you, extend the legs out in front of you. Good lengthening here. Some deep breaths. From here, guide your knees up toward your body once again. We're going to rock our way up to seated, or even roll to one side and press yourself up to seated, whatever feels best to get you here. And let's guide our bodies into boat pose. Lots of ways to be in boat. This is how I usually like to set it up. I'll keep the feet on the floor, knees bent, and hold onto my legs just to ensure an extended spine. So a nice lifting sensation there. Of course, breath is helping with that. Fill up the lungs, engage the belly, and then lean back. And the farther back you go, the more challenging it might be. Now you can keep feet on the floor, release and just hold, or add some more dynamics. You might draw the feet in a little closer, finding that balance where you just are sitting and the feet can float in the air here. Shins might be parallel to the floor if your knees are bent. You can certainly extend your legs, point your toes, or flex your feet, just something active here. You can hold on for the duration to keep your torso well extended. Challenge yourself by releasing. You can always back things up. If you need to soften the pose at any time but still want to be in the posture, just come back here or somewhere in between. Okay, we're moving now, breathing in. Feel like you're lifting up off the ground. Exhale. Let's cross legs if you can, hands out in front, weight out in front and step back into plank, or again, hands to the side and just swing the feet back behind you until you are in plank pose. Continue to feel that core connection, belly button pulling up towards spine. Take a breath to feel that. And next, exhale, take a shortcut to downward facing. Just bend the knees a little, send your hips into the air, and of course, make your adjustments with your feet and hands. All right, don't forget you can rest anytime. Inhale, extend right leg up into the air. Hold here, reach, get longer. Imagine you're still lying on the floor, where I had you extend your legs out front and your arms behind you, and you were really extending. See if you can mimic that sensation here. All right, now with that extra opening, let's open the hip. Bend your knee, bring your heel down a bit toward your backside, and then lift the knee up into the air. It doesn't have to lift high. What you'll create is a little rotation in the spine. It'll open the hip. There's a couple things. First, let's get into the ankle. See if you can circle the ankle. Circle just the foot, yes? And let's get more into that hip socket. Imagine there's a wall right at the knee, and you're going to draw a big circle on that wall with your knee. So big circle, maybe a couple times one direction, couple times in the other direction.
Big circle, so that leg will kind of drop down towards the floor, out to the side, and up towards ceiling. A couple times. Finishing at the top, we'll inhale. And exhale to unwind and step through. Right foot to the top of the mat. Again, left heel turns to the floor. Again, shift the weight into that back foot. Balanced body, light hands, hinge from hips, rising up, first warrior. On our exhale, opening to the left side of the room, you'll be in warrior two. Adjust the feet. Feel tall, arms extended, parallel to the floor. Yes, energy through the fingertips as if you're going to touch these walls. Yes, there it is. Very active. Wonderful. Okay. Our side angle pose. Just follow the right arm forward. It'll angle the upper half of the body. And then rotate your arms here. Right arm will come down maybe to the inner right leg. Left hand reaching into the air. Now, I typically stay up high in this pose. If you have the space and flexibility, you certainly can go down lower, closer to the floor. You might even touch the ground with your fingers. Stay here. You're going to bring your left arm or left hand behind you. Your left hand down to your low back. All right, and then draw or pull the shoulder back to open up through the chest. Even feel like you're sending your heart space forward towards that left wall. Nice. Maybe some deep breaths. So we're at an angle, lengthened spine, opened heart. All right, let's inhale, re-extend, left arm up into the air. And then a turn to fold, hands down to the mat, step back into plank pose. Hold for a moment, just for the body, allow the body to realign. And then a shortcut again to downward facing dog. Soft knees, hips into the air. Let's do the same on the other side. Inhale, extend left leg up, reach back. Keep breathing as you continue that extension. Still imagine you're on the floor, reaching in these opposite directions, lengthening, more space created. Now we'll open the hip, bend your knee. Heel comes down towards backside, a little lift of the knee. There's our hip opener, a little spinal rotation. Get into that foot, ankle roll, little circles there, both directions. Yes, and then into that hip socket. Big circle with the knee in the air. There it is. It's going down and around and up. Just in a manner that feels good for your hips, for that leg, for your back even. Ending at the top, breathing in. Exhale, unwind, step through. Good. Left foot to the top of the mat. Right heel turns to the floor. Find that centering. Only rise when you have that centering. Hands will be light, hinge from hips. Warrior one, exhale, expand and open to your right side of the room. Warrior two, adjust your feet so you have a strong foundation. Be sure, just check in if you need to, even look at it. Left knee and toes are pointing directly forward. You feel tall, outstretched arms. Love it, very strong. Side angle, here it comes. Reaching out, angled upper body, rotate the arms so you're reaching towards the floor with the left hand, or you might be touching the floor with the left hand. Or remember, you can stay up nice and high while right hand is touching the ceiling. You do have to touch the ceiling with your right hand. That is mandatory. Don't have to touch the floor, just touch the ceiling. Okay, you're going to bring your right arm down behind you, or right hand behind you at your low back. Hopefully there's still some space or mobility in the shoulder, so you can actually roll the right shoulder back or pull it back. Feel some more lengthening through the neck, down through the spine. You want to even feel like you're coming forward and you're being led by the top of your head. Yes. Strong legs here too, yeah? Let's inhale, re-extend the right arm up into the air, and our turn. Fold, hands to the mat. Slide left foot back, plank pose. Pause for a moment. Just feel how the body shifts and changes as it comes back to neutral. Take the shortcut again to down dog, or finish the vinyasa. Chaturanga Dandasana, modify that if you need to. Some back bend that feels good at this moment. And downward facing dog. Nice full breath in. Exhale, walk, step, or hop both feet up to the top of the mat. Stay on your feet. Inhale, extend through the spine.
Exhale, fold. There it is. Weight shift into the heels, bend your knees. Inhale, reverse your swan dive. Reach into the air, good energy. Exhale, arms down to your side. All right, very nice. Maybe some motion here. Roll your shoulders. All righty, good. Are you guys getting that big circle in the leg here? Like, yeah, wind it up. Really move, okay? Because that might help, okay? Getting some mobility, some functionality there so we can eventually, get that foot to the top of the mat, because it's really in your hip, right? Have that flexibility to step through, all righty? Okay, some more hip work here. So we're going to do tree pose. Yes, it's a balancing posture, but it really does get into our hips. Soft knees. Let's start shifting weight into the right foot. Press into the floor. Strong connection. Good engagement. Feel tall. Lengthening. Exhale. Pull belly in. Then we'll take that left foot up off the floor. Bend the knee. We're going to do a few things here. Left hand, just catch underneath the knee here or the shin. Right hand on your hip. Use your hand, the right hand, to actually feel like you're pushing your pelvis down, pushing downward, and feel like you're trying to lift and get a little taller. Yeah. Flex this left foot. Okay. We're going to guide the leg out to the side until it just naturally stops. You want to see if you can stay square here. Hips are still facing forward. So if you took the knee but you turned, okay, just want to go until it just stops. And then take tree pose, same thing. That knee still might be pointing towards the corner of the room, but maybe it swings out a little bit more once you've placed it on the leg. It can be low, it can be at your calf, this is where I usually put it. You can even be on the floor with the toes. Or maybe you've used your hand and drew it up a little higher there on the inner leg. Okay, then we'll take both arms up into the air. You don't have to stand with attitude with your hand on your hip. I'm in tree pose. Very good. All right, just bring the arms down. Bring your hands back to your hips. Okay, attitude in your tree pose. Roll the shoulders back. All right, same left hand. We're going to pull that foot away. See if you can catch the shin again, or just below the knee. Lift until it just stops, okay? But see if you can stay up tall. Just be aware if you're leaning, okay? And just see if you can just stay tall, but just lift, and just see where it ends, okay? Then bring it forward. See if you have that mobility to bring it forward to the front of the room, and then we'll set it down. Find your connection to the earth. Shake all that out, both feet, arms as well, okay? So we came out of that tree, brought it up. So we're just looking for this mobility, okay? Bringing it forward then down, okay? It's kind of what we just did in that down dog, okay? Okay, winding it up. All right, other side. Balanced on 2 feet. And remember, even if you get a little unsteady in your tree pose, let's say you just can't get into it today. just pause. Just pause and just come back to your mountain pose. That happens though, doesn't it? Soft knees. Shifting weight into your left foot, root into the floor. Nice and tall. Core engagement. We'll peel that right foot up. We'll catch the shin or just below the knee. Left hand on hip. Push down as you feel a little taller. Flex foot here just to keep this leg active. So our first little balancing act. We'll take it out until it just naturally stops so you still feel square in the hips, even if it's barely out at an angle. And then we'll place the foot on the inner leg, high. Okay, you can even cross at the hip there. I rarely do this pose, but this is a part of another version of the posture. Inner thigh, below the knee at your calf, or use the floor. If you're near a wall, just use the wall or go to a wall. Let's take both arms up into the air. Finding something to focus out in front of you or down low towards the ground.
If a blank wall is not easy to focus on, it's usually easier to focus on something that has color or texture. Good, breathing in. Exhale, let's bring the arms down, bring the hands back to the hips. Okay. Let's pull that foot away, catch the knee or shin, and we're still lifting, being aware if you're leaning, okay? So that just means just stop, okay? Maybe you didn't lift very much, and that's okay. Okay, keeping that height, and see if you can swing it forward if you have that mobility. And we'll release it to the floor. Walk it out, shake it out, both feet, yeah. And the arms here too. Good. Whenever you're ready to flow, and inhale, reaching both arms up into the sky. Exhale, swan dive forward. Inhale, monkey pose. That's our flat back, fully extended spine. Exhale, fold and bend. Hands to the ground. Hop or step back, plank pose. Come down if you'd like. Chaturanga Dandasana. Just going through a flow here. Go at your own pace. Inhale, upward facing dog if you're going through that sequence. Exhale, downward facing dog. Always feel free to pause in a pose like a cobra pose. And then meet together in down dog. Okay? Inhale, extend right leg into the air, bend and twist, hold, and do that same big circle. Yes. In the leg, both directions, one time or two times in those directions. We're just seeing if we can get greater mobility. Then step through when you feel ready, up to the top of the mat. Maybe it gets a little closer to the hand. You still may need to guide it with the hand to get up there. Left heel turns to the floor, shifting weight back. Find your center. Inhale, rise, warrior one. Exhale, expand and open to your warrior two. Okay? Maybe a little bit wider with your feet. Just take your right foot, just send it forward a little bit. Forward, same with the back foot. I'm barely moving. Left foot back a little bit, not much. And that will take you a little deeper into the lunge. Side angle, reaching out. Maybe reach out a little bit more, then rotate the body. Right arm down, left hand up. Hold for a breath, just a nice opening through the heart. And the exhale, bring left hand down behind you, to low back. Okay, we're gonna do a light, I'm gonna call this a light bind. Okay, so the left hand on your low back, maybe you can reach around and touch your right hip or right thigh. Okay, if that's a little bit too much for the shoulder today, your left hand can maybe be on your left hip instead. You can go to a fuller bind if you want to go deeper, where you're getting lower with the upper body, right arm reaching underneath the right leg to find the left hand that's behind you. Okay, this is optional today. We're just going to go for the light binds, okay? So the light bind is just the arm behind you. Okay, wherever you are in the bind, you're going to inhale, re-extend the arms floor to ceiling. Just reopen the body. Listen carefully as we exhale, turn, fold. Bring both hands to the floor on the inside of your right foot. Inside of your right foot. And if there's not a lot of space there for your hands, just kind of heel toe your right foot just to the edge of the mat. Rise up onto your tiptoes behind you so the heel is lifted. So we're in this lunge. Push your hands firmly into the floor. Okay, so you have a strong press, straight arms here. Hips are still lifted slightly. And then we're going to gently set the left knee onto the floor. Feel free to pad the knee. Yeah, with your mat, you can just take your mat and fold it. If you've got a towel or something, you can use that. Even a block, because our blocks have some cushion to it, you can bring your knee to a block. Alrighty. And so we're just going to gently get a little deeper into this lunge. So allowing the hips just to kind of sink, as if gravity is drawing the hips down into the floor. Kind of let them sink. So this will affect, most likely, the left hip flexor, so the left leg extended out behind you, kind of the upper thigh region, just below the belt line, and maybe that right inner leg. Yes, good. Nice use of props there, a blanket or folded mat underneath you. Here's a little option here, a couple of options actually. If you feel like this foot, this right foot's really closely in and you can't get very deep, What you may want to do, kind of like what we did in the bridge pose, is you can take the feet wider than the hips, way out, and even your toes pointing outward a little bit. Okay, think of yourself getting into not child pose, happy baby pose. When you're lying on your back, your legs are wide there, okay? So it's a similar sensation there. So you may be able to get a little deeper, add more sensation. Here's another option. Even if the foot is a little closer to you, this is an option. Just peel off the floor, meaning just out to the outer edge of that foot. Okay, so the sole lifts up off the floor, you're on the outside edge of the foot, the knee is kind of moving away. More options. You can take a peek up here. I'm keeping left hand on the floor, right hand on the inner knee here, and gently, very gently pushing away, but leaning away from it. Yeah, so I've just added some options that you can play with, but go to the place that feels best for you. We've already been here a while, so you can always start to come out of the pose if your body feels complete with this sensation. One more breath. Let's bring everything back to neutral here. Hands on the floor, lift your hips out of that deep lunge. If that foot went out, let's just heel toe it back in. Let's do this. Maybe use your hands, lean into the hands, lean into your left knee so we can lighten up that right leg and slide it back so we are on our hands and knees here for a moment. Take 2 breaths with cat and cow. Cat and cow. And let's get off the wrists for a moment. You might take the knees a little wider here and sit back into child's pose. Just so we can give the hands and wrists a little bit of a break. Now you can start with the arms extended out front. Then shift and move your arms so they're down by your side. Down the side of your body as if you're reaching for your feet. Yes, that'll relax your shoulders and upper back. Three more breaths here. So taking advantage of this little restful moment, relief returning to the body. Take your time as you come out of the pose. Hands out in front, return to hands and knees. Maybe step the hands forward a little bit. Let's return to downward facing dog. Hands out front, spread out your fingers. Strong straight arms, tuck your toes, and exhale to help lift the knees and hips into the air. Make some adjustments. We're ready for the other side. So inhale, extend left leg into the sky. Nice extension, bend and twist open. Those big circles again. You start with the ankle, but then mostly in that leg. Okay, that socket there, both directions, there it is. Loosening things up. Good, then stepping through when you're ready. Left foot to the top of the mat or near top of the mat or near hand. There you go. Right heel to the floor. Find that centering, find the balance, then hinge your way up. First warrior, inhale. Exhale, opening to warrior 2. Settle in, first arrival in the posture, and then we're just taking a little wider. All you're doing is just wiggling the left foot forward a tiny bit. Match it with the right foot, tiny bit. That takes you deeper without feeling like you went too far. Here comes side angle. Reach, and then maybe reach a little bit more, and then rotate the arms. There's our side angle pose. Nice opening feeling. Okay, here comes that light bind, where you're bringing right arm or right hand behind you. You can just rest at low back. Be aware of your shoulder. If you need to put right hand on right hip, be there. Or if you can reach around your body, okay, maybe to your left hip or even your thigh. Okay, those are our light binds. You can go for a fuller bind if you want. Optional today. Reaching a little, you have to get a little lower because your left elbow needs to get lower than that thigh. So you can bend that arm, reach underneath to find the fingers of the other hand. Because
that too can affect the hips. Okay. Here we go, ready to release. Inhale, re-extend your arms, floor to ceiling, nice reopening. Exhale, turn, fold, both hands to the floor on the inside of the left foot. Same thing, we might need to heel toe that left foot to the edge of the mat to provide space for the hands. Come up onto your tiptoes behind you, so we're in our, I call it a runner's lunge. Strong press into the floor with the hands, strong straight arms initially. Even lift the hips a little higher at first, okay? Then we'll gently kneel. Right knee onto the ground, pat it as you need to. Slow sink of the hips into the depth of the pose that feels right for you on this side. Breath. Breath is the key here. Okay. Those other options, maybe heel toe that left foot out to the side, kind of like that happy baby pose, posturing of that leg. So you can get a little bit more into the inner leg and hip flexor. Okay. Peel that foot off the floor so you're on the outside edge of the foot. Right hand stays on the ground, left hand gently pushes that leg away, and then your upper body's kind of leaning away from that leg. Notice those sensations. Take a breath. Listen to your body. If you feel complete, then start to guide your way out of the pose. Still in the posture, maybe just one or two more breaths. And then you can slowly guide your way back. Okay. We're going to do the same thing where we take the weight off that left foot, bring it back so we're on hands and knees. 2 or 3 breaths, cat and cow, just to get into the mobility of the hips as well as the spine. Another restful moment in child's pose. And even think of this as not necessarily a counter pose to those deep lunges, but really energetically it might be, because those deep lunges can be quite intense, okay? So an opportunity to relieve yourself of that tension, whether it's physically or even emotionally, okay? That builds up in postures like that. That you're just giving yourself that opportunity and permission to, let me just soften, let me release and relax, let me take a moment. All right, 2 more breaths here. Still moving very slowly. Just guide your way up, this time to hero pose. Okay, just lifting upper body, sitting briefly in hero, and then slide off the heels onto the floor so we can swing the legs around to the front. Let's extend the legs, flex the feet to keep them strongly engaged. Let's get a nice lengthened torso, placing hands on the mat by your hips. Press into the ground to grow tall. Roll shoulders back, open the heart. Nice long neck, so gaze forward for a couple breaths. This is Dandasana, or staff pose. All right, we're going to see if we can get into a bind here a little bit. We'll keep it a light bind. Soften up a little bit. I'm going to try to mirror you. Okay, lean over to your left side and bend your right knee and bring your foot in, okay, like so. Okay, And just being aware of how much your knee bends or doesn't bend, okay? If it doesn't bend very well, just keep that foot forward, out in front, okay? More natural, comfortable knee position. If you can draw it in, draw it in. If you can, just for a little extra piece, you can pull it in at one point, but if you can, lift your whole body, scoot forward, okay? And get even closer. Again, be mindful of the bindiness in the knee, okay? We're still leaning over into the left side. Extend your right arm up into the air. Really reach, almost bend. Some space here, yes? Then reach forward out towards this left foot. Reach. We're not going to grab it or anything, just reaching towards the foot there, okay? And then spin the palm to the right side of the room. And we're going to wrap it around. We're actually going to make this a little bit more simple. Instead of wrapping the arm all the way around the leg there, you can lighten this up. Maybe it's just here. Okay, just hold on to the shin or front of leg right here. So a lighter bind. This hand here, just maybe adjust so you're just sitting up a little taller, bringing the hand a little closer towards your body and see if you can sit up a little taller. And you might create this natural twist or turn, okay, to the left side of the room. Okay, if you want to work for that full bind, you certainly can go there. We're just going to keep it kind of light today. Just 3 more breaths. Okay. See if you can remember this sensation, what we're creating, because we're going to recreate it in another pose later. Okay, go ahead and soften. Let's unbind. Maybe both hands kind of behind you. Okay, this foot here, bring it close to the left leg. Bring the right knee down. So we're in our Janu Shirshasana, or head to knee pose, almost like tree. So the foot's just on the inner leg, might be up by inner thigh. If you need to take it lower, take it lower. Same thing, just use your hands on the mat to help lift. Nice extension of spine. We will take this into a fold, so go ahead and shoot the arms straight up. Inhale, exhale, hinge, pause. Bring the hands down either to the floor or your leg. Maybe you can reach the foot, but the leg is fine here. So we got that hip opener. The pose is called head to knee pose, but rather than feeling like you're trying to get your head down to your knee, really I renamed it heart to toes pose, okay? So feel like you're sending your heart forward out towards your foot. That way you have more of a lengthening quality, moving that way rather than just down. So we get a little hamstring stretch with that left leg. Right hip opener there. All right, 3 more breaths. If you can, go ahead and free up the hands, reach forward, inhale, hinge from hips, rise up, reach, a little extra reach there at the top, arms come down. Maybe behind you so you can lean back. We're just going to switch sides. We'll extend the right leg. If you need to, shake all that out. Okay. This might be a little good exercise to do actually. Okay, so a little outer rotation in the legs. Okay, so if you're here, okay, and just soften a little bit and let the whole leg from their sockets roll out, open up. Okay, and then back in a couple times. Okay, we're going to do the bind on the other side. So you might lean to your right. Is this correct? Left foot comes in. Does that feel right? Bringing that in. If you need to, keep it way out front because you can still be in the bind, that light bind. Okay, lift and scoot forward if you're able. We're leaning to the right. Extend the left arm up, a little bend, then reach forward. Because part of this in getting to the fullness of the posture is your shoulder and knee alignment right there, so you can wrap around. But of course, we're not going there today unless you want to. And just make that a light bind. Okay, so just holding onto the shin, just the front of the leg there. Right hand kind of closer to the body to help you sit up tall, and maybe a slight twist to the right. There you go. Good. Two more breaths. nice release. Let's take the hands behind us here. Okay, come to our Janu Shirshasana, or head to knee pose, or heart to toes pose. So that knee just comes down to the side. Choose how much of a bend you want in that knee, foot to inner leg. Hands on the floor by your hips to adjust. I like to just call it a resit or a reseat. I like to lift and then sit back down, okay? Just so your sits bones feel connected to the ground, feel balanced there, okay? When you're ready, we'll take the arms up, inhale. Exhale, hinge forward, a little bit is fine, and then arms come down to the floor or leg. Heart to toes pose. So we can take advantage of that nice lengthening through the right leg, hip opener. Don't worry if that leg or this left knee doesn't come to the floor, because it certainly doesn't have to. But if it just feels like it's just kind of hanging there, maybe if you've got a block, just place a block or something underneath there, like a folded blanket, just so it adds that element of rest. So the leg knows it's resting or touching something, then it'll relax. Find your breath, maybe take a few deep breaths here. And 2 more. Let's free up the hands, reach forward, then an inhale to rise up, reach, a little extra reach there at the top. Exhale, hands down. Just lean back. Let's bend this right knee, bring the feet together, just come to cobbler's pose. Okay, here. And just support yourself. Add a light bounce here in the legs. Again, just getting into those hip sockets a little bit. Alrighty. You can keep the hands behind you. You can do a little heart opener. By pushing into the floor, you're actually sending the torso up, lifting the torso up out of the pelvic bowl, which might allow more space, and so your knees might drop open a bit more as you create this little back bend. Okay. Again, it doesn't have to be too intense, just a lifting up feeling. A couple more breaths there. Alrighty. Return to neutral. Let's return to a boat pose. Remember, your boat pose can be parked at your dock right here. Okay? Or let it float away. Moving here, breathing in. Lift, exhale, cross legs, hands in front or to the side. Get the legs back behind you, plank pose. Let's get some fluidity back into the body. Chaturanga Dandasana, coming down if you'd like, or a modified flow there. Up dog or a cobra pose, finishing in downward facing. Okay, we're just going to do just a warrior 1 sequence. Inhale, extend right leg up behind you, keep it straight. Right foot to the top of the mat, just a warrior 1. Left heel turns to the floor behind you. Find your center, find that grounding, rising up. We're just hinging up and then folding again. Hands down. Step back, plank pose, finish the flow. You can always take the shortcut right into down dog or some variation of movement to get to downward facing dog once again. Just a simple flow. Whenever you're ready to move from down dog, inhale, extend left leg into the air, straight line. Left foot to the top of the mat, warrior 1. Find that grounding. Rising when you're ready. Notice how your hips feel. Fold again on the exhale. Plant, slide. There it is, finishing your sequence. Arriving in down dog, a breath or 2 right there. I'm going to have you come down to hero, and if you can, hold hero pose. If this is a little bit too much for the knees, again, be mindful of your knees, even your ankles. Just take a regular seat. Let me just demonstrate another action we're going to do with our hips. So from a down dog, just watch me here. And having a block nearby might help with this. So from a down dog, I'm going to hop my feet forward, even step forward, but landing with my feet wide, feet turned out
Toes turned out, knees bent. I'm going to drop my hips into a squat. Okay, so I'm going to exhale, hop forward, landing with the feet wide. Feet and toes turned out, bend the knees, and sit. Okay, if you're able to, just sit. If you can balance here, balance here. If you need a block or something to help with balance, use this as a little park bench to sit. Okay, and you can even, if you hard to go all the way down, if you can come to a more of a huddle position here, be here, just hands on the ground. Okay, I think all these places, wherever you are in between here, will get into the inner legs. If you are able to kind of sit or even sit on a block, the arms are just going to be on the inner legs, a little brace, but just gently push outward. Hands to heart to help extend spine in your pose here. Okay, you might even be on your toes. It's okay if the heels need to lift in this posture. I think to get the feet flat, I think it's just taking the feet wider. I think it just kind of depends. Alrighty, let's come back to a downward facing dog. If you have a block, have that nearby. If you need a block, let me know. I'll get a block for you. Okay. Nice full breath in. Exhale, hop forward, landing with the feet wide. Toes turned out, knees bent, lowering your hips to a place that feels okay on your knees and ankles and hips. Heels can be lifted. Use a block to sit on. Arms braced against the inner legs, a little push outward. Okay, even if your hands are on the floor, see if you can push the legs outward. So you might even be here, almost like a frog. Okay, and just extend through the spine. You can even extend the spine even if you're here. Good. Couple more breaths. We will be coming back to this pose. Alrighty, place the hands on the floor. Start lifting the hips a little bit. So you may be like here in our frog-like position. You're going to start heel-toeing the feet inward. Heel-toe in. They don't have to be too close. Okay, feet can be kind of wide here. So you're in a forward fold, but there might be kind of a wider stance, which is fine for this. Bend the knees, lower your hips, extend the spine. We're just coming to standing. And then just hinge from hips, rising up, reaching into the air. Another nice stretch there. Let's go ahead and exhale, arms down to your side. And you can even shake out through the legs. Okay? Alrighty. So remember that hop to our little frog-like position, or a yogi squat. Okay? Watch for a moment. This is our, I don't want to do it. Oh, we have another pose. I have one more pose we have to do. Okay? So let's jump into that last posture. So setting ourselves up like we were doing tree pose. Softness in the knees, shifting weight into your right foot, press into the floor, nice and tall. Core engagement. We're going to lift that left foot. Let's catch it. Okay? In the left hand. Free right hand. Let's reach down at the shin or just below this hand, close to the ankle perhaps, and lift. Okay? Even if it's out, actually go ahead and take it out. If it's easier to lift higher by taking it out because it might go farther, if it's out to the side, do that. Keep hold of the ankle with your right hand, free up the left hand. Come to the front of the leg. We're going for a light bind. Okay, just hold on to the shin here. Free up the right hand, bring it behind you. Okay? We did this earlier. I said, remember what we did on the floor, seated? Okay? And that light bind is just a variation. Okay? You could go for the full bind. Lift, wrap. Okay? And hook behind you. Okay? We're just going for a lighter bind. Okay? Then turn this into a tree pose. Place that foot on the inner leg. Low if you need to. Use the floor if you need to. Take the arms up. Okay, and this can be your tree. Use the ground. No worries. Okay, keep arms extended. We'll swing that left knee forward. Lift the knee. Plant the foot into the ground. Arms down to your side. Shake all that out. Okay? Alrighty. Other side. That's how we'll end the sequence, but let's just do the other side. Okay, soft knees, shifting weight into the left foot. We're picking up the right foot when you're ready. Catch the shin. Okay, lift. Okay, left hand just below here. Now, if it's right in front, you might find that there's a snag. It will stop. But if you take it out to the side, you might be able to lift it a little higher. Okay, keep this hand here at the ankle. Free up the right hand, come to the front of the leg,
Okay, my forearm is right against the shin, just holding onto the ankle. Left hand behind you. Okay, as if you were doing the full bind. Yes. There you go. That's it. Yeah, even just from the outside, that's fine. Just hold onto the shin if it's easier and better. Okay? And turn this into a tree pose, placing foot on the inner leg, high, medium, or low. Free up your arms, reaching into the sky, making that transition. Yeah. Good. Keep arms extended. We'll swing that right knee forward, lifting knee, flexed foot. Plant the foot into the earth. Arms down to your side. Yes. Wow. Shaking all that out. Okay. Let's get into our sequence here. Okay, mountain pose. Take a breath or two here. Just like at the beginning of your practice, grounded, connected, breath connection. Here we go. Inhale, sweep the arms out and up. Exhale, swan dive forward. Inhale, monkey pose, long flat back, tabletop. Exhale, fold, bend, hands to the floor, hop or step back, plank pose, come down, chaturanga dandasana. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. And inhale, extend right leg into the air, bend and twist. Okay, big circle once again. Maybe two circles, one direction, the other in the other direction. Then we're going to step through, right foot to the top of the mat, warrior one. Plant that left heel, find your center. Rise up nice and tall. Open, warrior two. Take the feet a little bit wider, just a bit, side angle pose. Okay, right hand down, left hand up. Light bind, left hand down behind you. Or full bind, but of course light bind, perfect for this. Yes, we're still moving. Inhale, re-extend the arms, floor to ceiling. Okay. Exhale, turn and fold, hands to the floor on the inside of the right foot. Rise up onto your tiptoes behind you. Okay, lower the left knee. We're not going to be here long. We're just sinking the hip. Okay, just kind of sink into the pose. We're not going to be here too long until you just feel kind of settled into that stretch. That's sinking into the left hip flexor and the right inner leg. Okay, hands are firm on the floor, strong straight arms tucked, toes behind you, lifting the knee. Lift the hips a little higher so you can slide or pull the right foot back into plank pose. Adjust the hands and feet in plank, shortcut to down dog. Hips into the sky, little tiptoe forward. We're going to our yogi squat from here. Breathe in, exhale, hop forward, landing with the feet wide. Knees bent, dropping the hips, sit on your block if you need to. Okay, our little yogi squat or some variation of the pose. Remember, we're bracing. Okay, arms against the legs, a little gentle push outward, extend the spine. Okay, hands to the floor, lean into the hands so you can lift the hips a little bit, heel toe the feet in a little bit. They don't have to come in all the way. Okay, they can still be wide. Feel the spinal extension, weights in the heels. Inhale, reverse your swan dive. Come up, reaching into the air. Exhale, arms down to your side. Okay, we're shifting weight into the left foot so you can pick up the right foot. Catch the shin or knee, lift. Lift a little higher out to the side. Okay, we're going for that light bind. Catch the ankle or shin here. Okay, way out to the side might help you lift. Okay, we're kind of getting that mobility. Okay, right arm either from the outside, which is fine, hold here. Okay, or from the front. Okay, taking it out, left hand behind you. Just taking 3 breaths. And then we're just placing this foot on the inner leg for a tree pose. Arms up into the air. Arms stay extended, swing right knee forward, lifting knee, flexed foot. Plant the foot down into the earth. Arms return to your side. Quick shake out there. Ready for the other side. Here we go. Inhale, reach into the air, get nice and tall. Exhale, swan dive forward. Inhale, monkey pose. Feel that good extension. Exhale, fold, bend, hands to the floor, float back, plank pose, come down, chaturanga dandasana. Inhale, cobra or up dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, when you're ready, extend left leg into the air, bend and twist. Big circle one direction, big circle other direction. Then you're going to step it through, left foot to the top of the mat. Warrior one, right heel plants, rising high. Exhale, opening warrior two, settle in, slightly wider in the stance. Side angle, reaching out. Tip it over, arms extended high and low. Okay. Light bind, right hand behind you. Stay there or go for a secondary bind if you'd like. Excellent. Inhale, re-extend the arms into the air. Exhale, fold, hands to the floor on the inside of the left foot. Maybe heel toe that left foot out to the side if you need to. Rise up onto your tiptoes behind you. Okay. First the the runner's lunge, and then set the knee onto the floor. Carefully kind of sink and melt into the posture. Okay, so you've experienced this in that inner left leg, in the front of the right leg. Okay, starting to rise up out of that, tuck your toes under, lifting the knee. Okay, pull or slide the left foot back, plank pose, readjust the body. Downward facing dog, just a shortcut. Yogi squat with an exhale, hop forward, landing with feet wide. Okay, coming down low as you're able. That's it. Okay, hands to the floor in front. A little lean into the hands so you can start lifting the hips. Then start that heel toe in. Weight shift into the heels, bend your knees like you're sitting, extended spine, reverse the swan dive. Come up, reaching into the sky. Exhale, arms down to your side. And we're shifting weight into the right foot. Root, nice and tall, lifting left foot. Catch the shin. Right hand catches the ankle. Lift, but maybe take it out to the side for a little bit more lift. Flex this foot. This hand can stay on the outside as you swing this right hand behind you or over the top to the front, because you can continue to take it out. Two more breaths. Placing the foot on the inner leg, high, medium, or low for your tree pose. Let's keep arms extended, swing your left knee forward, lifting knee, flexed foot, plant the foot into the earth. Let's keep the arms extended. Inhale, lift, even lift the chin, open the heart. Slight back bend, exhale, swan dive. Melt all the way down. Monkey pose, extend the spine, inhale. Exhale, here's our fold, hands to the floor, hop or step back, plank pose, last chaturanga, here we go. Up dog or cobra. And exhale, downward facing dog. Just a breath or two in down dog. Return to seated. You can hop forward, cross your legs to take a seat, or kneel down to take your seat like we did earlier. Sit off to the side. Center yourself on your mat. Bring everything in. A little massage, a little movement. The back, your hips, ankles and feet. When we were here before, we did that light inner leg stretch by taking the legs wide. You can do the same thing here, or even take it to happy baby pose, or any other hip opener. So you might even take reclining cobbler's pose, couple versions of that one. First one is the feet are still up in the air, but the soles of your feet are touching. You're just holding on to the feet just like that. And with a little effort, you're sending the heels down towards your pelvis while your knees or legs feel like they're pushing forward. So that's the more formal version of Supta Baddha Konasana, or reclining bound angle pose. Or you can do that more relaxed version where you set the feet onto the floor, soles touching. The second one's nice because it's more of a relaxed kind of feeling. So moving through your hip openers here, take the time that you need with them when you feel complete. Maybe your next pose could be anything. It could be another back bend, a leg extension in the air for an inverted pose or a twist. So choose what feels right for you at this moment, one of those things or something else. We're getting close to the end of our practice together, so as you make your way through your ending poses, be sure to give yourself some good time, perhaps or any other restorative or relaxing position. Return to the awareness of your breath. With this awareness, take 5 slow, deep breaths with the intention of bringing energy back into your body, perhaps a new source of energy, a revived energy. Let it flow through you. Gradually feeling movement return to your body. And when you feel ready, carefully and slowly roll onto one side of your body into a nurturing pose. And then guide your way up to seated. Take your time. And if you'd like, you can bring your hands to heart center. Take one more breath in and out. And as we come to the close of our practice together, we bow saying, Namaste. Namaste. All right, wonderful, everybody. Ooh, did you get your sweat on? Okay. Yes, good job.